Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's talk about something really important. A critical weakness, honestly, in the whole world of NFTs and Web3. It's this idea of data permanence. I mean, how do we actually make sure our digital stuff lasts forever? So, imagine this. You just bought an NFT. Awesome. You've got the token, it's right there, secured on the blockchain. You feel like you own a little piece of digital history, right? But, and here's the scary part, while your ownership is recorded forever, what about the actual art, the image, the file itself? A lot of people just assume it's all safe and sound, but the truth is, it's way more fragile than you'd think.
And not right there. That gets to the absolute core of the problem. It's kind of the central illusion of Web3. Just because you own the record on the blockchain, the token, that doesn't mean the actual file, the JPEG or whatever, is guaranteed to be there forever. They're two totally different things. All right, so let's really dig into this. Why is this even a problem? I mean, we're always told blockchains are immutable and permanent, so how can our assets be so, well, vulnerable?
Well, it really boils down to what's called an incentive gap. See, blockchains are terrible for storing big files. It's super expensive and just not what they're built for. So where does the actual art go? It gets stored off-chain on some other system. And that leads to the million-dollar question. Who is paying to keep that system running? Forever? Not just for a year, but for decades? If there's no money in it for someone, there's absolutely no guarantee it'll stick around.
And look, this isn't some what-if scenario. It is already happening. We're seeing super expensive NFTs where the image is just gone. Poof, replaced by a broken link. We're seeing dApps fail because the data they rely on has vanished. This stuff really undermines the trust and value that the whole decentralized web is supposed to be about.
So, that brings us to our first big solution, Filecoin. And their approach is pretty smart. They tackle that incentive problem head-on. Instead of just hoping someone stores your data for free, they turn storage into a full-blown, competitive marketplace.
The easiest way to think about Filecoin is like a decentralized Amazon Web Services or Dropbox, but for the whole world. It's this huge marketplace where you can pay someone, literally anyone with some extra hard drive space, to store your data for you for a specific amount of time.
So how does it work? It's basically a three-step process. First, clients, that's you, create a storage deal. Then, storage providers all compete to win that deal. And here's the magic part. A bunch of fancy cryptographic proofs are constantly checking up on them. They have to prove, mathematically, that they're actually storing your data correctly, all the time. If they can't prove it, they don't get paid. Simple as that.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Filecoin is brilliant at solving the who pays question. It creates that market. But the storage isn't automatically forever. It's all based on contracts. And contracts, they expire. So if you want to keep your data safe long-term, you got to keep renewing those deals. It's basically a subscription model.
Okay, so now let's switch gears completely and look at a totally different philosophy. This is Arweave. And Arweave isn't about creating a marketplace for temporary storage. Its goal, right from the very beginning, is to be a permanent digital archive.
The mission here is, well, it's simple to say, but unbelievably ambitious. The whole point of Arweave is that once you upload your data and pay for it one time, it stays accessible pretty much forever, indefinitely. Not just for a year, not for a decade, we're talking as long as the network itself is around. So you're probably asking, how on earth can they promise that? Well, it works kind of like a digital endowment fund. You pay one fee up front. Most of that fee goes into this big pot of money. The system is designed so that this endowment will pay out tiny amounts to miners over time, for literally hundreds of years. It's all based on the bet that the cost of storage will keep getting cheaper. And to get their reward, miners have to prove they can still access random, old data, not just new stuff. That gives them a reason to keep the entire archive online forever. Okay, so we've got these two powerhouse solutions, but they are built on completely different ideas. So let's put them head to head. How do they really stack up? The biggest difference, the one that really defines everything else, is how you pay. With Filecoin, you're on a subscription plan. It's pay as you go. With Arweave, you're buying a lifetime membership. You pay once, and you're done.
And this chart really spells out the trade-offs. Filecoin gives you a ton of flexibility. It's great for data that's dynamic, things that change, or stuff you only need for a little while, like files for an active website. Arweave, on the other hand, gives up that flexibility for one big thing, permanence. So it's perfect for stuff that should never change, Think historical records, legal documents, or, of course, the final version of a super valuable NFT.
So yeah, it really comes back to that core idea. Are you renting space for your data, or are you buying it a forever home?
So which one wins? Which one is better? Well, the really smart projects out there are figuring out that it's not about choosing one or the other. The real answer is to use both. What's emerging as the gold standard is this hybrid, multi-layered strategy. It usually starts with something called IPFS for quick and easy access. Then they use Filecoin for the hot storage layer, the active renewable deals. And for the really, really critical stuff, they make a permanent backup on Arweave. That's the cold storage layer. It's like the ultimate belt and suspenders approach to make sure nothing ever gets lost. And by using all these tools together, creators can finally deliver on that original promise of Web3. They can make the permanence of the data match the permanence of the ownership token. That's how you build real, lasting trust and create things of actual value.
Which brings us to one last really critical thought to leave you with. It's a question that shows why all this stuff, paid permanent storage, isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It's absolutely essential for the future of Web3. Because really think about it. If you own a token, but the art behind it is gone, what do you truly own? What is that actually worth?